Punk rules for protesting. 1. Never take pictures or videos. Do not post anything on social media. 2. Never talk to reporters or cops. 3. Look as indistinguishable as possible. Cover your tattoos. Take out your piercings. Cover your hair. Wear loose-fitting solid-colored clothing and shoes. 4. This is not your time to have a main character moment. Follow the crowd. Stick with the crowd. Try not to stand out. 5. Leave all your electronic devices at home. They all have GPS technology and can track your movement. 6. If you are arrested, say nothing. The Supreme Court ruled cops don't have to tell you your rights upon arrest anymore. So know your rights and STFU.
Hey y'all, your friendly neighborhood feminist lawyer coming in with some ideas of what to say to a cop if he starts questioning you. First off, be friendly, be civil. If you are even the slightest bit rude, you're giving them ammunition against you. Use sir and ma'am. It's often humiliating, but boy, it'll help you stay out of jail. Or you can use officer if you'd like to be gender neutral. Just try to remain calm. It's okay to make very surface level conversation like, hi, how are you? Having a good day? Great. You know, that kind of thing. Like, boy, it's hot out today, isn't it? That kind of stuff. But after that, if they ask you anything like, where you headed? Or where you been? Or have you had any drinks? Or what's that smell? Or why do you look so upset? Or why are your eyes so red? Or are you part of this protest, etc.? The first thing I would say is, I don't answer questions without an attorney present. Sorry. Well, can I see your ID? I don't really answer questions without an attorney present. And then I would follow that with, am I being detained? If I'm being detained, I want an attorney. Because don't forget your Miranda rights. If you are being detained, you have the right to remain silent, and you have the right to an attorney being present at every questioning, at that moment and every moment in the future that you might be questioned by the police. Don't make it easy for them. Make them do the work to get the information. Due process does not work if we give it up. We can't just give it up. We have to hold due process to where it is. It won't work otherwise. So, sorry, sir, I don't answer questions without an attorney present. Ma'am, am I being detained? If so, I would like an attorney. It makes it very clear that you know what your rights are, that you're not going to answer any questions, and that they're going to have to serve an arrest warrant or have probable cause to search or arrest you in order to get any information out of you, and it's going to have to be in the presence of an attorney. If the answer to am I being detained is anything other than yes, you're under arrest, leave, walk away, don't say anything, just have a nice day, goodbye, that's it. You can walk away from a cop, and they are allowed to lie to you. They are allowed to tell you anything to get you to give up information. You cannot speak. Don't give them anything. Why have I been stopped? Am I being detained? I want my lawyer. And then shut up. Nothing else. They can and will lie dead to your face. So I want an attorney. I don't answer questions without an attorney. Am I being detained? Goodbye. Don't say anything else. Now stay safe and keep fighting the good fight.
So for everyone pissed about Roe v. Wade and the huge loss for women's bodily autonomy, I have a hypothetical idea. There should be a new amendment to the Constitution protecting what we are losing with the overturn. So first, go to Google. Type in Find My Representative. Click on the House.gov link at the top. Type in your zip code. It'll pull up the representative for your congressional district. There will be an email icon under the picture. Separate search. Type Find My Senator. Click the Senate.gov link at the top. Choose your state. It'll pull up both your senators with contact hyperlinks. For the senators and the representative, hypothetically, you would write an email stating why the protections under Roe v. Wade should be turned into a new amendment in the Constitution. Also, click the option that says you would like a response. That way you have an email address. Then, hypothetically, take those email addresses and schedule the same email to go every hour on the hour of every day until a new amendment is made protecting the rights under Roe v. Wade. If just half the Roe supporters did that, that's 90 million emails an hour. Hypothetically, that's a huge fucking headache for Congress. Now follow me, I love you.
What if you didn't call the police? Don'tCallThePolice.com. Listings in most American and a couple of Canadian cities. Let's go to Austin and find police alternatives. What's the issue you're dealing with? From housing to LGBTQ issues, mental health, domestic violence, youth, elders, addiction and substance, crime. There are other options. And some of those options provide 24/7 access to mental health professionals. Consider these alternatives if you're trying to de-escalate a situation. There's links at the bottom to translate it into lots of different languages. I tried Ukrainian because sometimes the safest thing to do is not call the police.
Did you know there's a way to tell if a country is fascist or not? I am obsessed with fascism. Please tell me more. In 2003, political scientist Dr. Lawrence Britt published an article titled The 14 Characteristics of Fascism. After studying fascist regimes of Hitler Germany, Mussolini Italy, Franco Spain, and a few others, Dr. Lawrence found they all had these 14 characteristics in common. So let's go through these together, shall we? Number 1, powerful and continuing nationalism. Fascist regimes tend to make constant use of patriotic mottos, slogans, symbol songs, and other paraphernalia. Flags are seen everywhere, as are flag symbols on clothing and in public displays. Number 2, disdain for the recognition of human rights. Because of fear of enemies and the need for security, the people in fascist regimes are persuaded that human rights can be ignored in certain cases because of need. The people tend to look the other way or even approve of torture, summary executions, assassinations, long incarcerations of prisoners, etc. Number 3, identification of enemies/scapegoats as a unifying cause. The people are rallied into a unifying patriotic frenzy over the need to eliminate a perceived common threat or foe, racial, ethnic, or religious minorities, liberals, communists, socialists, terrorists, etc. Number 4, supremacy of the military. Even when there are widespread domestic problems, the military is given a disproportionate amount of government funding and the domestic agenda is neglected. Number 5, rampant sexism. The governments of fascist nations tend to be almost exclusively male-dominated. Traditional gender roles are made more rigid, opposition to abortion is high, as is homophobia and anti-gay legislation and national policy. Number 6, controlled mass media. Sometimes the media is directly controlled by the government, but in other cases the media is indirectly controlled by government regulation or sympathetic media spokespeople and executives. Censorship, especially in wartime, is very common. Number 7, obsession with national security. Fear is used as a motivational tool by the government over the masses. Number 8, religion and government are intertwined. Governments in fascist nations tend to use the most common religion in the nation as a tool to manipulate public opinion. Religious rhetoric and terminology is common from government leaders even when the major tenets of the religion are diametrically opposed to the government's policies or actions. Number 9, corporate power is protected. The industrial and business aristocracy of a fascist nation often are the ones who put the government leaders into power, creating a mutually beneficial business/government relationship and power elite. Number 10, labor power is suppressed. Because the organizing power of labor is the only real threat to a fascist government, labor unions are either eliminated entirely or are severely suppressed. Number 11, disdain for intellectuals and the arts. Fascist nations tend to promote and tolerate open hostility towards higher education and academia. It is not uncommon for professors and other academics to be censored or even arrested. Free expression in the arts is openly attacked, and the governments often refuse to fund the arts. Number 12, obsession with crime and punishment. Under fascist regimes, the police are given almost limitless power to enforce laws. There is often a national police force with virtually unlimited power. Number 13, rampant cronyism and corruption. Fascist regimes almost always are governed by groups of friends and associates who appoint each other to government positions and use governmental power and authority to protect their friends from accountability. And number 14, fraudulent elections. USA! USA!
Good morning, bad news. The Supreme Court just announced a case that will permanently end democratic elections. I know that sounds alarmist, but this is not hyperbole. Here's what's going on. If SCOTUS rules in favor of Moore v. Harper, which they will, they have the votes, then the ruling will allow state legislatures unlimited power in conducting elections and choosing the outcomes of those elections, regardless of how people voted. This idea, which is called the independent state legislature theory and comes from a deliberate misreading of the Constitution, has been repeatedly rejected by federal and state courts for over a century because it removes all oversight from the electoral process with no ability to challenge open fraud and corruption. It explicitly allows a majority in a state's legislature to reject all votes for an opposing candidate by using arbitrary anti-democratic laws that they themselves pass. Right now, election laws can be challenged in state courts or vetoed by the state governor, creating a basic system of checks and balances. This ruling would destroy that balance and completely undermine even the ability to have a democratic election. American democracy is already on its last legs, but this ruling would make it easy and legal to establish a one-party dictatorship and to end fair elections in the United States forever.
For the white people on my TikTok, I have a fragility test for you. Now, I don't want you to take offense to this, and I don't want you to see this as me trying to attack y'all, come at y'all. This test is purely just to see if maybe there are some defense mechanisms that you have up, that when black people do express some of the issues, that maybe it doesn't really hit how it should. So if you're still here and you're white, I'm gonna assume that you wanna take this white fragility test. I did not name this test, so I'm sorry for the name, but let's go ahead. So, white fragility test. Ask yourself the following 16 questions total. 1. Do I feel defensive when a person of color says white people? 2. Do I feel angry when people tell me that I benefit from white privilege? 3. When a person of color talks about race, do I feel defensive because they're describing things that I do or think as racist? 4. Do I feel angry or annoyed by the above questions? 5. Do I have a history of embracing or growing up in racism that I feel ashamed of, and so I need to show people that I'm not racist anymore? 6. Does saying not all white people or similar phrases make me feel better when someone calls white people out for something? If you made it this far, thank you. Let's keep going. 7. Do I expect an apology when I feel like I've been unfairly accused of racism? 8. Do I feel better when I say, hear, or read, it's okay to be white? 9. Do I try to convince people of color that they're wrong about racism by pointing out people from their racial group who agree with me? 10. Do I feel the need to talk about how hard my ancestors had it when they immigrated, or explain my own hardships when a person of color talks about being oppressed? 11. Do I think that racism would go away if people stopped talking about it? 12. Does being told that something I say, think, do, or otherwise value is racist make me want to shut down, leave, or express my discomfort or displeasure in some way? 13. Do I feel the need to state that I have friends and family who are people of color when someone accuses me of racism? 14. Do I feel the need to prove that I'm not racist? 15. Do I feel that my opinions and perspectives about race should be given equal weight to that of a person of color, that I have something unique and important to contribute to the race conversations, and or that it is unfair to be told to listen more than I speak? And last but not least, 16. Do I feel the need to defend myself on any of the above points in the comment section? Now, if you answered yes to any of these questions, you are dealing with white fragility. Take the time to reflect on why you feel the way that you do. Take time to listen to different perspectives. White fragility is a hindrance to racial healing because it prevents people of color from being able to engage white people in honest conversations without also having to bear the burden of catering to white people's emotional comfort. At its worst, white fragility can cause an emotional, unhealthy situation for people of color because of racial power dynamics. I got 7 seconds left so you guys can read the rest, but I really hope that this test didn't offend anybody. It really is just to help white and black people get.
Mutual aid doesn't have to mean cash assistance. It can include that, but the scope of mutual aid covers anything that serves to lessen the burden of capitalism on our neighbors. A few examples. A tool or utility library for anything from wrenches to lawnmowers. Helping a neighbor fill out health insurance claim forms. Trading off childcare or unschooled. Homeschooling day trips, materials, books. Meal trains. A 24/7 accessible community fridge or pantry. Pooling resources to buy bulk groceries or a snowblower for the use of everyone on your block. Anything we can give, share, or provide as a community is one more thing someone doesn't need to pay for alone. Anything helps. It all counts.
Yeah, I gotcha. So first, LRAD stands for Long Range Acoustic Device. It was developed for the military to send loud, long-range messages either through a microphone or pre-recorded, and to work as a crowd disbursement tool. It does crowd disbursement by playing a very loud set of sounds that are at a decibel count and a frequency that can be disorienting and downright harmful to humans. We're talking loud enough to cause someone to become disoriented, confused, giving them temporary or even long-term hearing damage. And if you've been exposed to it long enough, you can actually experience blood coming out of your ears. And there are a few ways that you can mitigate this and protect yourself against it. But first, I'm going to show you an LRAD. And while they have different sets of sounds depending on the model of LRAD they use, this way you can actually see what one looks like and hear what it sounds like. So this is your headphone and volume warning. It's going to be about a 5-second clip coming up next. Alright, I'm not going to play that sound the rest of this video, so you can go back to headphones and normal volume now. But that's what they look like, and they're going to be mounted on top of vehicles. As you can see from the hands on each side, there's actually a person there focusing the direction in which it goes. And how effective this is against you depends on a few different factors. Like I said, it is directionally focused, so the person operating it has a viewfinder and crosshair so they can aim the device. But you can use that to your advantage. If you're off to the sides or even behind it, while you will still hear the sounds, it will not cause as much disorientation or damage. But the decibel levels are still loud enough that you may still get the ringing in your ears. So that means one of the main advantages for you in defending against this is distance and direction. The further you are away from the device, the less it's going to affect you. But that also means, since it's directionally focused, when you see it and they start activating it, don't just turn around and run straight away from it. Treat it like a riptide in the ocean. If you're running away from it, you are still in the directional path of the audio waves. You want to first run perpendicular to it to get out of the line of fire, and then you can retreat. As solid material can help block some of the sound waves, you want to find cover. Get something between you and the device, such as a wall. If you think one of these devices is going to be used at a protest you're going to, you need to bring hearing protection. And you want it at the highest decibel rating that you can find. Cotton balls and noise-canceling headphones will not work. Noise-canceling headphones cancel out different frequency than what LRADs operate on, so no Bose. Once they bring this out, they're not going to stop using it until the crowd's fully dispersed. So this is where pre-protest planning comes in. Before you start protesting, you should have designated fallback and rally points. Not just for the protest as a whole, but the group that you specifically came with. And not just one, multiple. That way when this device comes out, you can fall back to the predetermined rally point, regroup, and plan how you're going to proceed to continue your protest.